in a society that is so geared by material things, it is hard to save money. Your friends, they got this nice, clothes and nice vacations and you're feeling like, you know what, like I can go on that, but then I'm going to eat up all my down payment for my house. Like the Gen Zs and the millennials, they grew up with parents that bought stuff for them. So basically, they're used to having a instant gratification on buying stuff as a kid. Like, oh, you need a pair of skates? Let's go to the store. Let's buy it. Right. You need this? Yeah. You need that? And so when they grew up with that, and then when they are in the real world working, they're still doing that even though they don't have the money. Put it on the credit card. It's hard for them to save. So that's why they end up renting. And renting is going to become big. And in some places in Europe, renting is it's pretty large population in some places in Europe. So renting is kind of like a normal thing in different countries around the world, and owning is like a big luxury thing. And that's what's going to happen to this country in 20 years. Like in 20 years from now, they give up on that dream of owning a house, and they just rent, and that's what they do for the rest of their life, and then that's it. And I think in 20 years from now, we're gonna be sitting in that situation, because the amount of immigration that is coming into this country is gonna push that to that level. I mean, well, you got to watch this segment. Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with RE/MAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show Niagara edition with host Stephanie Vivier.
Hey, Rob. So glad to have you back. Some of the most interesting conversation we have, and we do have interesting conversations, happens before we turn these microphones on, doesn't it?
It is. They're pretty good. Sometimes, I would love to talk about some of these conversations on the air. I don't know, but the one we were talking about is people driving in the passing lane. They're slow, and it just, I am a little bit of a speeder, but I'm within the speed limitations, like like if you're driving 125 kilometers an hour on the highway, the police aren't going to pull you over. They want that guy that's doing over 150. But I'm usually, pretty good. And if you're driving on the left lane and you want to cruise through, and the highway's open, and then you got this one person obviously did not read the driver's handbook when they were getting their driver's license. And the other thing, they obviously, when they did the check for the driver's test, they didn't go on the highway. If they did, I mean, they always stay on the right side. But now you get these people, and they look at you like, they think we're wrong. We're behind them, and they're holding up traffic. I just want to let people know out there, I'm going to spread the word around, is that passing lane, if there's no slow cars there and traffic's going through, there'd hardly be any traffic. There would hardly be any traffic. That's why they have a passing lane. In Europe, if you're in that passing lane, you'll be crucified. You will be crucified. They enforce that like you would not believe. But we don't enforce anything here. Everything is going to chaos. People are hopping on buses, don't even pay for the bus anymore. I'm going to see if I can try that. In Niagara Falls, apparently a lot of people aren't paying for the bus, and the bus driver's like, okay, whatever. That's the way it goes in this world. And right. Like there's so many things that society has let go, and I don't get it. And I just saw the other day a guy. And he must be a Muslim or something. He has a turban on his head, riding a motorcycle without a helmet.
Oh, no.
Like 40 years ago, they would not allow that. Say, hey, what's the insurance company going to do with this guy? Does the insurance company know this guy does not have a helmet? He's driving around, like he's going to crack his head open, and the insurance company is going to have to pay huge money if this guy is paralyzed or brain dead, and they have to give him money. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things in this society is being let go that should stay enforced like all the time. And
I was reading an article, Rob. I wonder if you think about this. So they did a study. They asked people if they, for because they want to slow people down, right? People are speeding too much.
Yeah.
We're talking about those 150-kilometer
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So the idea would be in your car, the faster you go, the harder it would be to push the accelerator. That they would put technology in there so that, a certain amount, it's easy, just like it is now. But then as you're speeding, it becomes harder to actually push the accelerator so that you would notice that you were speeding.
That's probably a good way, because I know they're raising the speed limit on the highways to 110 kilometers an hour. They did a test on the Queen Elizabeth Way. I mean, so that means people usually drive about 10 to 20 kilometers more than what the speed limit is. And the police won't touch you at that number. They'll just, they just cruise through. Because of the 150 kilometer stunt driving fine, and you get your car towed away and get a big fine. They're trying to catch those guys. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get those guys. So it actually helped the light speeders, not the heavy speeders. It helped the light speeders. The light speeders, they're letting it go. They're okay, go ahead. Well, we're going to let you. We want the big fish. We want to catch that big one, And but yeah, like it's. They realize, I think, the highways can handle that kind of speed, so they did tests and everything, but definitely they have to do something with the passing lane. They should enforce that more so than ever. It would help with traffic. There's no doubt about it. If you want to drive 100 kilometers an hour, be on the right lane. You want to drive 120, 130 kilometers an hour, and you're cruising through. That's how traffic moves. Like that, they got studies on that, and they just don't do that. So people, and I find like people are not paying attention, and then you see this person there, and you see a car driving up behind them. They're flashing their lights, like move over, and they're like, no, they're upset because somebody flashed the lights on them, and they don't realize they're not supposed to be there at that speed in that lane. But I mean, we all live with different things that society's bringing to us, and that's just the way it is, and. It's just a lot of conversation there. You could talk about, there's other things we were talking about, but I want to talk about what's going on in the real estate market.
That's what we're here to do, Rob. I know you drive a lot, so you notice that because you're all over the place, all over the region, helping people realize their real estate goals. What's going on? We're into June now, about halfway through. Yeah, no.
So you know what? I'm going to say, like, the Niagara market has been tough, tougher than all markets. Like, we're talking through the whole Golden Horseshoe. I don't understand why houses are sitting on the market longer. They're not selling as fast, and it's tough to get an offer. And it is tough. So in the first 13 days of June in Niagara, there was 240 homes sold. And then last year, in the first 13 days, there was 283. So we're down about 9% in unit numbers year over year in the first 13 days. Now, in May versus June, we're pretty well on par. So is this the new norm that we're in right now? My opinion, I feel that the market's going to get even tougher a little bit, especially Niagara, because how long can people hold off by putting their houses up for sale? So they were hoping for an interest rate drop, and it's not going to be enough for people, to jump and everybody's, doing the happy dance. Let's go buy a house. It's not going to do that. It's very minimal, and it's not. Now people are going to say, you know what, we just got to put our house up for sale. Let's just do it, and it is what it is. The market is what it is, and let's just put it up for sale. So I think you're going to see a lot of houses going up for sale this summer. They're not going to do as well because now we're going to start getting a buildup of inventory. And just because they had to, they have no choice. And the market, but people are going to be doing some tough stink offers, if you know what stink offers are.
Well, that's what you're going to tell us about. And I'm really excited. I've never heard of this before. And I love chatting real estate with you. What is a stink bid?
A stink bid is when an offer to purchase a property at a price significantly lower than the asking price or market value. So and we're getting a lot of those right now. Now you have to work those offers like you would not believe. And this is where a realtor is really needed. Now, a realtor cannot be emotional because homeowners are emotional. When they get an offer, they get emotional. And it's up to the realtor to go in and say, hey, listen, this is just a starting point. We don't know how far they're going to come up. But it's such a delicate, it's like playing a chess game. It's so tough when somebody comes in with a low offer. You're like, okay, how far are they willing to come up? What's their mindset? Where are they looking at? That's the hard thing about these low offers that come in. You just don't know where you're going to land. And hopefully you land at market value. Maybe sometimes there's houses that are overpriced. Yeah, they're going to come in a lot lower. I get it. But if you're priced right and there's a stink offer coming in, like a bad offer, and then you sell below market value, it hurts the seller, and it's tough. Buyers right now, they're a little bit in the driver's seat, especially in Niagara. If you got a beautiful house, everything's updated, beautiful product, you can stay strong on your price. To a certain degree, it's not going to be worth $250,000 more than what it should be worth. You know what I mean? So you won't get that, but you got to be very, very, very careful. And I'm working on one right now in Niagara Falls, and I'm just like delicately trying to deal with it and trying to feel out what the other agent's mindset is and trying to figure out where we're going to land. I don't want to give them our bottom line, and they're not going to give us their bottom line. But I want to see how close we are. And then once I know we're getting closer, then that's when I really start, biting into that negotiations and trying to now convince the buyer's agent to come towards our price more than the other one. So right now I'm just kind of easily walking, treading, and being nice and gentle, and then boom, then I bite like a shark and then get that person. Then that's when I jump in and get the deal done. But here's the thing about this. I'll tell you right now, if you're a buyer and you see 10 houses that you like, okay, and it's hard to do this. It's hard to find an agent that's going to do this for you. But you go in and put 10 low offers on 10 different properties, you will get one. The worst thing is when you put a low offer on a house and the seller accepts it, and you're like, oh my God, maybe I should have gone lower. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? You get that oh, he accepted my low offer, expected a sign back, but no, he accepts it. And what do? You just now you're second guessing the value of this property. You're thinking,
sure, yeah. Why is he so desperate?
Yeah, he took it so fast, and it's happened to me. I've put low offers on some properties over the years of my career for myself personally, and I'm like, whoa, maybe I should have went lower, and then but it sticks to you, and you don't know what to do because this guy accepted what a low offer was that you thought they would never take. So, but a lot of that's happening. They call them stink offers and low ball offers.
Yeah, is there an amount under the asking price where you kind of qualify it as a stink offer, 25% or? Yeah,
it just depends. If I'm dealing with if you're dealing with a $500,000 house and they come in at 400 or 4.25, it's pretty low, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Maybe the house is worth 450. I don't know. And so you try to you give a sign back of 475. They may walk. That's why you really, really got to talk to the agent, see what their mentality is. So whatever. So I would go to the agent. I go, what's the number that's floating around in their head? And whatever number they give you, it's a lie. It's not the real number. There's more room. Yeah. So you just got to know that. So and then you just got to work it and then just keep going. But there's so many different tactics when you're dealing with the low offer. But the key thing is to not get emotional, especially the realtor. The realtor's always I could tell when I'm dealing with an inexperienced realtor and they get emotional, they get uptight, and they get so upset. And I go, hey, buddy, listen, this is a starting point. Go there, be the professional and talk to your clients and try to get something a return back, like a counter offer return. Always try to get a counter offer. That's, return. I usually tell my clients, listen, we got 3 choices. We can accept it, reject it, or counter it. And I always suggest we counter the offer no matter how low it is. Now, once you counter it, now sometimes people counter the offer at full price. Well, you just now both parties are upset. Like maybe we are overpriced on the listing. So try to counter the offer where it's, you're willing to play ball. And then and on that second counter, if they come back still low, then you say, okay, we're done. We don't want to deal with you anymore. But give always one counter, because you don't know what that buyer's willing to come up to. They always try to go in low, because what happens if you do accept it? So always go, if you go with a low offer, if you're a seller out there right now and somebody's coming in with a low offer, counter the offer, give it a chance. You never know what's going to happen. And then even if the realtor says no, just counter, you got to communicate with the other agent and try to find out where the landing point is going to be on that house or that offer. And then you'll find out you may end up selling it, but you could have, thrown it out and lose a really good offer at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's kind of reminding me of like Price is Right, where they go up for the showcase and everyone has their, $700, $1,100, and someone comes in with the $1 offer, right? Yeah. They come in and just steal it by doing the $1 because they don't want to make it. So that's kind of, I guess, the real estate version of that.
That's it. Oh, for sure. The Price is Right. My dad loved watching that show.
Rob, we were talking about stink bids. I'd never heard of this, but I am so much more educated in the realm of real estate, always as thanks to you. But we've talked a lot about renting on this show, and how difficult it is to rent and how difficult it is to find places. And it turns out a lot of people are renting, even if you're not able to find a location. We've hit some unprecedented numbers for tenants in Canada.
Oh my God, yeah. Like Montreal leads the way with 63% of households renting. I can't believe that. That's 63% of households.
Wow.
Yeah. So renters in Canada have climbed 33% of households. Like, this is all of Canada now. The highest percentage yet. Now, 28 of Canada's 50 major cities have to have a share of renters higher than the national average, according to the study by the real estate site at Point Two. Based on the latest census data, Montreal leads the way, 63% of households renting. I thought it was high, with renters increasing at twice the rate of homeowners during this 5-year period. It begs to differ. Question is, renting becoming the go-to housing option for Canadians? Like, I get it. It's becoming expensive. It's becoming expensive to even save the down payment for a house. Literally, like you are like when you are living in a society that is so geared by material things, it is hard to save money. Your friends, they got this nice, clothes and nice vacations and you're feeling like, you know what, like I can go on that, but then I'm going to eat up all my down payment for my house that I want to buy. And it's tough, because we, like the Gen Zs and the millennials, they grew up with parents that bought stuff for them. So basically, they're used to having a instant gratification on buying stuff as a kid. Like, oh, you need a pair of skates? Let's go to the store. Let's buy it. Right. You need this? Yeah. You need that? And so when they grew up with that, and then when they are in the real world working, they're still doing that even though they don't have the money. Put it on the credit card. It's hard for them to save. Mm-hmm. And so that's why they end up renting. And renting is going to become big. And in some places in Europe, renting is it's pretty large population in some places in Europe. So renting is kind of like a normal thing in different countries around the world, and owning is like a big luxury thing, and that's what's going to happen to this country in 20 years. Like, and 20 years from now, there's going to be people that own houses and people that renting houses, and you're not going to look down at people that rent. It's just kind of a normal thing. If you go to New York City, I'm sure there's way more renters than owners, just because of how expensive it is. But you're going to find that, you own a house? Wow. Like you kind of look at them just kind of a little bit like, wow, that's nice. I wish I could own a house. But they give up on that dream of owning a house, and they just rent, and that's what they do for the rest of their life, and then that's it. And I think in 20 years from now, we're gonna be sitting in that situation, because the amount of immigration that is coming into this country is gonna push that to that level. I mean, we are so far behind, and in when it comes to housing, building housing, and everything else like that, that it's pretty well on a standstill. Like, housing is like, developers aren't building, and a lot of them are going bankrupt. They can't even finish the project because of building materials, because of people are walking away from all their deals, especially on the high-rise condos. It is going to be a tough situation in 20 years from now, and I feel renting is going to be probably just as much as Montreal is, and I don't get it, because Montreal real estate wasn't that expensive compared to the Toronto and Vancouver, and so I don't understand why. Maybe their culture there in Montreal is more for renting, and that's more
it's
accepted.
A little more European, right? And you were mentioning how common renting is in Europe, so it would be part of it. Opportunities, I guess, there for people who have the opportunity to get into investments, maybe getting an investment property or two.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'll tell you, to build wealth in this country, and 90% of multimillionaires built their wealth on real estate. And that's just the way it is. Like, and if each person can own their personal residence plus an additional property, that property will get paid for within 25 years. And not only you will have income coming from it, you have equity. So you could sell it or just keep it and just have the monthly income. So by the time 20 years from now, let's say you own a property, you're collecting $2,800 a month. It's going to be like $5,000 to $7,000 a month you're going to be collecting. And that's a great pension on top of whatever your pension you're getting. So you could still live the lifestyle that you were when you were working and stuff like that. A lot of people don't realize when you retire, and I'm sure a lot of retirees out there, if they have an expensive lifestyle, travel and everything, once they retire, that their pensions aren't supporting what their lifestyle is, unless they saved a lot of money and they can dip into it for the rest of their life. And then if they got millions in the bank that helped with their investments, and they pull out maybe $100,000 a year, that's fine. They'll or 150, whatever it takes to live and travel, and that and that's what people do. They retire. They want to enjoy life, and whatever their life it gives them enjoyment. They if it costs them money, that's why they save, so they can enjoy life after retirement and just keep going. I know people out there, they travel 3-4 times a year, maybe more, after retirement, and it's because they did well with their investments. They saved out throughout the years, and I know one specifically that they bought real estate and they made money on real estate, and that's why they're able to keep traveling and enjoy life. They don't own any real estate anymore, but they cashed out and they put that into an investment fund, and now they just draw from there.
And they're on their way. We were just talking about this young people renting, Rob, but some young people do own houses, which is fantastic. And there was a study out this week. We were talking about it on the main show as well. 68% of people between 18 and 34 feel pretty stressed about finances. Oh,
yeah. You know what? I was one of those back in the day. I was one of those people, and I remember when interest rates were a little higher, and it was during the 90s, and I'll tell you, like, how people are watching the interest rate now, it was like that back then, and I remember when the interest rates were going up like literally there was no money at the end of the month. There was zero, like you were in the negative. Like you would say, okay, listen, we're not going to pay our hydro bill this month. We'll pay it next month. You're still a month behind, even though you pay it next month because you just had to pay the gas bill this month. And then cable, you're trying to figure out how you can hook it to your neighbor's cable. You just go, you're just like, hey, wait a minute. Because this is when cable was up in the telephone poles.
Right.
I said, I could see, you know what? I can see where that connection is. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to cancel mine, and then they'll unplug it, and I'll just plug it in. And it's like, and you know, I'm telling you, you have no idea. The cable, I'll tell you, back in probably in the 90s, there's people stealing cable from everywhere. Like just, it's
well,
just.
you didn't have any streaming either, right? You didn't have any Netflix. You didn't have any Disney Plus.
No.
So like, that was the only way to be plugged into whatever was happening.
Oh, I know. Just the things you got away with back those days was incredible. But you had to do it. You were in survival mode. Like you had to survive and try to make it through and see, like, you know, like you still wanted, you know, you wanted to be able to watch TV. Otherwise you got nothing after. You'd be bored at night. But yeah, like it was tough. There was no, like hardly any money, and people fell behind on their bills. And, you know, you're driving around, you see the what do you call it? The hydro company going around the neighborhood. And you go, oh my God, is that for me? is he giving me notice? You better pay, otherwise we're going to shut you down. You know what I mean?
Grim Reaper coming for you.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you. Like I'm sure people understand what I'm talking about. You know that you see the hydro company, cable company. Who else was cruising around the neighborhoods ready to cut you off on whatever? But
the phone company too, right? Because that like before cell phones,
yeah,
landlines.
The phone company too, and they're driving around and go, please let it not be me. You know, please let me have one more month. I need one more. I'll pay you next month. You know, so
I got to see Sex in the City.
Yeah. But that's how tough it was, and I'm sure people are feeling the same way now. But I don't think they shut hydro off now because it's all this stuff. You can't shut people's stuff off, and I don't know what they do. I don't know. But in the middle of winter, like back those days, they didn't care if you. They didn't care if you didn't pay. They shut you down. They didn't care whether it was cold or not back those days. They just said, now, you know, you can't shut nothing out. You can't shut the phone bill because just in case it needs to make emergency phone call, you can't shut the cable off. It's no TV. So, you know, but you know what I mean? But those are the things today is different than it was back then. Hey, I don't care, you know, the gas company back those days, they shut you down. They didn't care if you froze to death, and they just said pay the gas bill. That's how it was. But today, there's a little bit more sensitivity and things like that. But it's okay. But yeah, I get it. It is tough out there for people, especially the young people. They just gotta bear with it. Not even, you know, quit your smoking, quit your drinking, quit whatever is bad for you that you're doing out there. Don't go out for pack a lunch. Don't buy lunches. Don't buy dinners. Just go. You'll survive this. This is just a short-term pain, and you'll survive it, and you'll make it through. I made it through, and I'm sure if I can do it, anybody else can. So it is survival mode because people's mortgages are high. They're stressed. I get it.
Well, when I read this, Rob, I thought, okay, well, this is great. People 18 to 34 are owning houses. This is awesome because we hear a lot, you know, that age group isn't owning. So that's cool. And I also kind of thought, you know, similar to what you were saying is that like, well, isn't this when we struggle financially when we're 18 to 34? You know, you're just at the beginning of your career. You're just maybe coming out of school. If you've got some school debt, maybe, you know, you're starting a family at that age as well. So it's kind of a time in your life where it's very expensive all of a sudden. So I think if maybe you talk to those retired people we were talking about earlier, a lot of them would say that is the most financially stressed time of your life. It
is. And I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's good for you to experience that because it makes you a stronger person. I'll tell you, I was an entrepreneur since I was 20 years old, and I went through some very hard times in my 20s, right? And a lot of my friends did not experience what I experienced, but that's what made me what I am today. But I'll tell you, hard times are, you don't want to go through it. When you're going through it, it's like you're in it's mentally tough on you. It is mentally tough. But once you survive it, you're good. Now, the one thing you have to remember, you have your health. If you got your health, you've got the world. It doesn't matter. It's not like, yes, financially things can be disastrous for you, but you just mutter through that and you'll make it. And you'll look back in time and say, wow, I can't believe I survived that thing. You know, it's like going through a war and you made it back and you survived it. It's the same thing. It's like I look back at some of the experiences I went through being an entrepreneur in my 20s, and I'll tell you, I experienced some hard times, but I look back now and I just like, you know what, I lived through it. I was positive. I just kept pushing through, and it worked out. But the young people today just hang in there. I'm telling you, just hang in there. You'll make it. It's not gonna be like that forever. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
And you too will be laughing about all of the crazy antics that you got to up to at that age, for sure. Pressure makes diamonds. That's some great advice there, Rob. And Rob, there was a lot of real estate type news in the headlines this week. We talked a little bit about that study of those 18 to 34 feeling more pressure financially when they have a mortgage. And another one of the stories this week that was making a huge impact is the changes to the capital gains tax. And I've heard about it from a lot of different experts, and people are weighing in on both sides. You know, some saying it's really not going to affect people that much, but I'm excited to hear, you know, your views coming from the real estate point of view on this change.
Well, it's affected a lot of people, especially if they own a secondary property or a little small apartment building. I had one guy in Oakville. He has a $5 million apartment building, and he asked me, can we get this thing sold by like June 21st or whatever, or you know? And I said, you know what, like, and this was like a month ago. So we're talking, when you sell something like that, you need more than a month to put it up for sale and then have it close on before that date. He said the difference in his capital gains is $400,000. That's a lot of money.
Wow, really?
It is. It's a lot of money. So,
and that's what people are depending on. As we were talking about retirement earlier, a lot of entrepreneurs have real estate because they don't have that pension, right? So they depend on that to be their pensions.
Exactly. But what what it is that you're taxed 63 or 67% after your first $250,000, which is a lot. It used to be just 50%. So that's a big difference depending on how much real estate you own. Now it's affecting cottage country people that own a cottage, parents that own a cottage, and they want to pass it down to the next generation. With this tax that's implemented, it's not hitting the rich, it's hitting the middle class. And, you know, they barely had enough money to buy a secondary cottage over the years so that they can enjoy their family going up to a cottage and enjoy it. And the kids that grew up there, they want to still enjoy it after the parents are gone. And what happens is it's not going to happen for them. This is not going to happen for them the way they implementing this tax. Now, I know Pierre Poilievre is trying to trying to get rid of this thing. It's not good. Like, think about this. Your parents, they buy this cottage, and it's a family cottage. They want to pass the legacy down to the next generation, to their kids, so they can use it. And now they are eliminating that. So basically, it's a one-hit wonder. One generation gets the cottage, and the next generation, they're going to be taxed so heavily that they can't even afford to keep the cottage. And that's what's happening out there. And it's not good. I have a friend that has a cottage. Their parents have a cottage. They owned it for a long time. They're trying to figure a way, how can they keep this cottage after they pass away? Now, the parents are 80 years old now. You know, let's say they got 20 years left of their life. Let's say they both live to 100. Fantastic. They got 20 years of this. But if they don't, and let's say they pass away in the next 5 to 10 years, like this cottage, the kids love it. They go there all the time. They enjoy it. And the grandkids have gone. But at least the kids, what's going to happen when the parents pass away? They're not going to be able to afford to keep it. They have to sell it. and just pay all the taxes, and then that's it. Because if they keep it, they have to pay the taxes. They have to get a loan, a mortgage someplace on their house or whatever, and pay it. Now, and the parents just want to leave it for their kids. That's it. So, and now
pay for it before they pass. Would that sort of through these laws and save them from having to pay at this point?
Well, it wasn't as heavy, the tax, but there's ways. You got to talk to your lawyer and you got to talk to your accountant in trying to get this thing passed down to the next generation. I think parents right now, if they own a cottage, they got to, like, somebody has to pay the taxes down the road. So I think the parents, what they have to do is put the cottage under the kids' names. And then now they've got another generation enjoying it. But then if their kids, which the grandkids, they're not, somebody has to pay the taxes along the line. And as the values keep going up in price, it's going to continue. The taxes are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So let's say somebody bought a cottage for $100,000, let's say 35 years ago, 40 years ago. Now it's worth $1.5 million. That's a lot. There's a lot of taxes there. So you get the first $250,000. So you got $350,000. So you got let's say $650,000 plus let's say $500,000. Yeah, you're gonna pay. You have to pay $500,000 or more. $600,000. Wow. And so you think they want to keep the cottage? No, they're gonna sell it because now they have to put a mortgage on it. Right. It's just not gonna work. And the government is doing this to people. They're making it tough. They don't get it. Like, I don't know if they own cottages, these people that are voting for this. I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you, they're making life harder for people, even the middle class. And, it's just becoming tougher. So if you own a cottage out there and your kids, they're going to keep it and want to continue using it after you're gone, I would definitely go see a real estate lawyer and an accountant and find a way that this thing can get passed down without any taxes being paid. Now, eventually somebody has to. Maybe the third generation doesn't care because they're moving away and that's it. So it gets sold. Everybody shares the money. But this is not about money. This is about enjoying a cottage that they grew up with. That's what it is, and that's why a lot of parents want to pass the cottage down to the kids because their kids want it. So, but they're making it difficult. The government's making it difficult for any household or any family that wants to continue the legacy, and that's what we do. Isn't it what life is? Continue the legacy. Like they're missing that. They are missing that. So it's hard to tell what's going to happen, but go see a lawyer and figure a way to keep that cottage in the family.
Yeah, no time to sell because the 21st is coming up rather quickly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
We've been talking a lot about that younger generation, Rob, and you brought us some information about Canadian kids, young kids. Do they have that dream of ownership and walking down the aisle? It looks like a lot of them don't.
So a lot of, you know what it is? I'll tell you something. This is what I found, and this is what I found my kids. They meet somebody, they fall in love, they move into a house together. They're not married yet, and they get a pet. They're getting a dog. They're getting a cat, a dog, or both, and that's their kids. That's what their kids are. I think it's practice for them. I think it's a practice round.
Did they do that thing, Rob, where they call you grandpa to the cats and the dogs?
Hey, here comes grandpa. Here comes grandpa. Okay, little Sparky. It's like this thing actually will talk to me. But yeah, that's what kids are doing today. All four of my kids, they all fell in love. Moved in together before they didn't get married. And then three of them are married now, but they all have pets. They all have dogs. And one has 2 dogs. I go, are you crazy? I go, what are you doing? I go,
no grandkids yet.
I go, yeah. I go, now what happens if you do have a kid? But they prefer to have pets than kids because they know how expensive it is. And so you're going to find our population, and that's why the government's trying to increase the population. So what's happening? The population of immigrants coming in is greater, and also the population of animals is getting greater. So we're going to be ruled by animals in this country soon. If not already.
I have 2 dogs, Rob, and let me tell you, they actually do rule our entire lives. Like they're, they are like kids in that, like you can't plan to go anywhere for a long period of time without having someone to watch them.
You know what the funny thing is? We love our pets sometimes more than our kids. I'll tell you that.
Well, I mean, Rob, when did you ever come home and your kids run up to you and, other when they were super young, right?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
They're never that excited to see you.
So here's a true story that happened in my household. So we have a little dog. His name is Brody. And like when the kids are sick, you say, oh, he's all right. Just give him, some, cough syrup, whatever. He'll be fine. But when Brody is sick, our dog, I go, take him to the hospital right away. Take him to the vet. We can't have this dog suffering because he doesn't know how to speak and everything like that. So we literally, I'd be like frantic. This dog has got to get looked after. Meanwhile, we don't even take our kids to the doctor, even though it's covered by OHIP. Yeah. but when my dog gets sick, I'm like right to the vet. I go, is he going to be okay? What does he need? Does he need this? Does he,
Run the blood work, whatever you got to do. Get that CT scan.
Get that, yeah. Just say, what does he need? What's this dog? Get him on pills. Whatever we need to get this dog healthy again, do it.
Here's my credit card. Just run it up.
That's it. But that's how we are. We appreciate our pets so much more sometimes than human beings, and because they're, because they're so innocent, they're so they love their master, if that's what you call it. They are just the best buddies that you can have, and the personalities on these pets are unreal. It's just, it's just incredible. But that's what young people are doing today. They're, if you see a young couple moving in together, what's the next best thing? Hey, we got to get a dog or a cat, or it was mostly dogs. So dogs are, they're becoming more and more expensive. It's like, going to adopt it. My one son's dog, he has a passport. He came from Europe.
The dog has a passport?
They have a passport. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they just, he's got this, I don't know, it's like a little, it's not a boxer. I don't know what they call it. Anyway, I don't know these names of these dogs, but yeah.
Well, you know what else is happening too, Rob? So they, moving together, they're not married and whatever. Time goes by, and with relationships, sometimes it doesn't work out. And then they're getting into custody battles over these dogs.
Yeah. And support payments too, probably.
Yes. Yeah. And they're sharing custody of them. Every week one takes it and every week the other one takes it. Some people are doing like prenup type things for the dogs when they get them, just in case they break up.
Oh yeah. Like it's incredible. Like I think Oprah Winfrey, like their dogs are going to inherit billions. So,
oh man. Yeah.
But I know, but you know what? Like there's some major battles out there, and I've been to people's homes where they're separating and divorcing, and they have a pet, and guess what? They're fighting over this pet, and it seems to be the major focal point of their divorce, and because like it's hard to tell who's closer to the pet than which spouse is, like, you know what I mean? But yeah,
in my family we have, like I said, we have the 2. And one is Misha. She's 13 and a half now, and she's just a little blessing. She's a rescue dog, and she would go with anybody. If you came to the house today, she would go home with you. But Winnie the Pooch is a Shih Tzu Poodle mix, and she is obsessed with my husband. Obsessed. She will sit at the door and stare at it when he's not home. Like she's fine. She loves me, all of that kind of stuff. So if anything happened, I know where Winnie's going.
She loves you as long as you're not close to your husband, because she's a jealous little dog. She's jealous. You know what? I had a Shih Tzu one time, and it was a female Shih Tzu. And I'll tell you, those little female Shih Tzus, they got little personalities. They kind of like want their own space. Like I had a boy dog and a girl dog. boy dogs are more cuddly. They're like friendly. They want to hang out with you, get on the couch and, snuggle up against watching TV. They'll, but the female dogs, some of them, I'm telling you, they're a little tough. I get you. They play hard to get, these girls. I don't know where they get their personalities from. They like.
No, Winnie loves a cuddle. She loves a pet. But yeah, she's obsessed with my husband. They are great. What do you do with your pets when you're selling your house? Should you not have them there when people are coming to see the house?
You shouldn't have them there when you're packing and moving. Don't. You are freaking them out. Bring them to your a family, like somebody that can take care of the dog, like parents, relatives, or whatever. Because when the dogs start seeing you packing, they get anxiety. Our dog gets anxiety when we're packing our luggage. Like,
I know.
They like, where are you going? Like they're like jumping around. Like, hey, how come I can't go with you? Where's my luggage? How come you're not packing me to go? And, but I'm telling you, these pets, I mean, they're smart. They're, it's amazing, but yeah, definitely you gotta be careful with pets.
Well, they'll be taking over the world, like you said, soon enough. They'll all be our overlords. Rob, this has been such a hoot today. Thank you so much for doing the show with us. If you want to get a hold of Rob and his amazing team, it's robgolfi.com, 905-641-0308. You can also get an instant home estimate at golfihomevalue.com. Have an amazing rest of your day. This has been the Golfi Real Estate Show Niagara edition. Oh, Rob, before I let you go, happy Father's Day to you. I hope you enjoy.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
This is News Talk 610 CKTV.
Yeah, picking the wrong realtor, that'd be a big mistake. That cost me money.
Hi, Rob here, and hey, we get it. We get that the right realtor makes all the difference. My advice, talk to 3 realtors, including one from the Golfi team. Compare and you'll see no one gets results like Golfi because of the millions we invest in marketing, getting you the most money in the least amount of time.
The Golfi team, Golfi gets it sold.
Pick the right realtor. Just Google Golfi.